Dronr.
What's up, Droners? B here, and today we're going to be talking about the brand new, well, semi-new laws that the FAA is implementing for recreational flyers. So let's get into it. All right, so the first thing we have to do is define what is a recreational rule, or why does this apply to you, or when would it apply to you more specifically? Well, a recreational flyer is somebody who's pretty much just not flying for money. That seems like a simple rule, but it might not be so simple. For example, obviously I fly as a professional pilot for productions and for other things to make money, but I also have put my footage up on YouTube before on monetized videos. Now, if you monetize your videos, that technically means that you're flying to make money, even though it's secondhand through YouTube, which technically makes you a commercial pilot. The FAA doesn't necessarily have the means to enforce and be able to regulate that the way that they really want to, but technically, just so you're aware, if you are monetizing videos in any way, shape, or form, or monetizing any kind of way that you're flying a drone, you're no longer a hobbyist and you're gonna need your Part 107. So be wary, be aware, understand the difference. And just for further clarification, you can actually be a Part 107 pilot and still be flying recreationally, which means these rules will apply to you. So it's just pretty much by the flight of what you're doing really defines what kind of pilot you're being, recreational or commercial. Make sure you are registering your drones on the FAA website, faa.gov, to be able to make sure you get that number or that serial number or whatever the code that they give you and put it on the outside of your drone. When the FAA first came out with their rules about how to register a drone and how to be a recreational flyer, the rule said that you have to have the registration somewhere on the drone, but it didn't necessarily have to be somewhere that was visible. Most people put it in their battery compartments for their drones. Well, now that has changed, thanks to some terrorist activity, unfortunately. Now they want all the drones to have their labeling on the outside of the drones. That makes it so they can photograph the drones while they're in the air to be able to get that license number, as well as if the drone is crashed and they think there might be something explosive on it, they don't have to touch it or take it apart to be able to get that information to be able to find out whose drone it is. So make sure you're labeling your drones on the outside after you get that labeling number from the FAA website, which I actually have a link below for. And the recreational rules say that if your drone is from 0.55 pounds, which is about 250 grams, up to 55 pounds, that's where you have to register it to be able to fly it. And just for clarification, the Mavic Mini was recently dropped by DJI, which technically weighs 248 grams or less than 0.55 pounds, which means that you don't actually have to register it if you're gonna be flying it as a recreational pilot. So understand you don't have to register if it weighs less than that, but if you are flying it commercially, you still need to register. And regardless if you registered or not, you still actually have to abide by all the hobbyist rules or the commercial rules, depending on which type of flight you're doing. Always make sure you keep your drone in line of sight. That's not new, but always make sure you do. You have to be able to see your drone as flying as a hobbyist, or you are now flying illegally. Keep your drone under 400 feet and also fly in designated areas. Some of these designated areas are actually being designated as recreational areas by the AMA, American Model Association, that they have areas that you can actually go to fly. That's just a fun area all over the country. If you go to their website, which I have a link below, they'll tell you all the different spots that are really good to fly. Obviously, if you are in Class G airspace, you're good to go. That's unrestricted airspace. I also have a link below to air maps as a way to be able to tell what kind of airspace you're in. And you can even filter that map, that's a live map, and it'll tell you where you are currently, what airspace you're in, and if you want to fly recreationally, if it's okay or not. Also, the FAA has the Lance system that is coming out. It hasn't come out yet. That's supposed to be able to give recreational pilots the ability to authorize their flights live. So you can show up somewhere and you might not be in G airspace or an AMA recreational spot, but you can open up a Lance app or an app that uses the Lance system to be able to say, hey, I want to fly here, is this okay? Which previously has been actually calling the different aircraft control towers. They're sick of us. They don't want us to do it anymore. This new rule says, don't call the towers anymore. We have a system coming out. In the meantime, fly in Class G and in these recreational areas designated by the AMA, and we will have the system out soon for you to be able to give you the authorization to fly in other areas as well. Minimum age to actually fly by yourself as a recreational pilot is 16 years old. I don't necessarily agree with this, but it's the law, and the other side of it is, I guess when you're 16 is the first time when you can really start signing for yourself and the first time you can get a legal ID and drive a car. So maybe there's something to go along the lines with that, but I honestly believe that we should be able to let younger people under some form of supervision be able to fly recreationally, to be able to learn, to be able to increase the interest in this industry and in drones. The age limit and the recreational rules are actually for every single drone that you fly. There's no weight minimum there. There's a weight limit of 55 pounds, but it just says, in the laws, it says up to 55 pounds. It doesn't say that there's a basement. So it could be like 0.000001 grams and still be applicable to all of these laws that I'm telling you about. You're not allowed to fly intentionally over unprotected people or cars, so like expressways and stuff like that. That's nothing new, but just a reminder, you're not supposed to be doing that. Make sure that you're not under the influence of alcohol or drugs when you fly, but I mean, that feels like common sense because obviously you mess up, but don't do it. Make sure you aren't flying over sensitive infrastructure or buildings that you're not supposed to be. For example, power plants, water plants, federal buildings specifically, or jails. Do not fly over that. Actually, the Air Map app will tell you when you are in that area and what you have going on around you so you can be aware of it. And being aware of it's really important. I actually made a whole video about how I almost got in a lot of trouble for flying and accidentally filming a little bit of a federal facility. And I promise you right now, the video is worth it because it is absolutely epic. The lesson being, make sure you understand where you're flying and what you're looking at before you fly. If you're flying in a new space, always make sure you check out the local laws and ordinances because part of the recreational laws and the way the FAA is regulating the airspace with drones is that they're giving local municipalities and cities and states their ability to also regulate on top of the FAA regulations. So if you're flying in a place, or if you're new to flying, then look at your local regulations and see what it is. Or if you're going somewhere else that you're not used to being in, just make sure you just do a quick search online for the drone rules for that city or state or whatever's going on because they do vary wildly across different locations and you just don't want to have any trouble and you want to avoid any kind of interaction with law enforcement if you can. Speaking of municipalities and also some kind of laws that require an extra test, I actually had to take an aeronautical test in North Carolina to be able to do commercial work there. It's a great example of finding local ordinances that already do have drone laws that are separate from the federal laws that you still have to abide by when you go and do that. So make sure you're keeping up on that and keeping up on where you're flying and what the laws are, because if I had gotten caught looking at that federal facility without done all my homework and doing the things I was supposed to, I could have been in a lot of trouble. Follow the advice, fly the right way, and all should be well. Have fun. During natural disasters, keep your drones grounded. Unless an agency or a federal person is telling you to fly the drone for them or hiring you to do it, keep your drones on the ground. Like, for example, I live in California, and the wildfires obviously are happening out here. And yeah, it might look like good footage or you're doing whatever, trying to help. You're not helping. What you're doing is grounding the airlines or the airplanes and the helicopters that are trying to fight the fires because they can't take the legal risk of being there when you are. And it's super illegal to fly in that area and super illegal to fly around any of that stuff. So just don't do it. You're making us look bad. You're making them want to put more regulations on all the rest of the drone pilots. So just stay away, keep it grounded, and just don't do it. And speaking to the future, I did already say the land system is supposed to be coming. Also, it seems that the FAA is already hinting towards there being some kind of test, an aeronautical knowledge test that seems kind of sort of similar to the Part 107, but obviously lesser for recreational pilots coming down the pipeline. But it really kind of depends on, we don't really know. We don't know what it is going to be on that test. We don't know when that test is going to be coming out. So just keep your eye on it, stay aware. Every once in a while, just check the FAA website or check back with us, because when it does come out, I'm going to take it just so I can tell you guys what's going on with it. And just make sure you're aware of what's going on with that, because obviously changing laws do affect you and all of us. Droners, thank you so much for checking out this video. First of all, big shout out to Ken Heron. I got a lot of this information and the idea for this video from a video he made with the updated laws. So thank you, Ken. You are a blessing. Your channel is amazing and you guys should definitely check him out. He's amazing. And if you want to see more amazing videos, actually the video that I made about my experience with the police in the federal building, we got it. It's right here. Or if you want to just see more videos that'll teach you more about how to be a professional drone pilot and the things that I've gone through and learned as a pro drone pilot, we got them right here. Please, please, please go ahead and subscribe and like and turn on your notifications for this, because we will be putting out more content for you guys. And as always, make sure you stay fly.